physical quorum to do some of the business today. We needed more than that. We needed, 40 to constitute this, 40 to get to the 75.
Oh, yeah, 40 versus 75.
So, so we won't be able to make that, obviously, and I don't think we're probably ever gonna be able to get 40 members together in a room at one time. So we're gonna have to really work on that. One of the issues is bylaws cannot be updated, changed, or amended in any way, shape, or form without a quorum of 75% of the membership per bylaws. So I would like to do one thing to get started, which is Mark Mabry is one of the former presidents. He was the originator of the CVRIA, as we're calling it. It's too long to say all the other stuff. But he provided us with a copy of the original 2006, so that is what we have in our hands. Mark, could you attest to that for us, please?
It's true.
So there was a copy floating around that we had at one point. I guess what happened was Linda had gone ahead and started to change the 06 bylaws that were originally signed on by the original group. And that was the copy that had been circulating when I went out and tried to get that meeting in March pulled together from Linda, getting that pulled together. She had not had a meeting. I think someone said from 2011 was the last meeting y'all had. So she had approached me at my home to try to collect dues and fees and fines and whatever else she could come up with. And I told her, look, you haven't had a meeting in years. When you have a meeting, we'll talk cash. And until then, we're not doing that. So that was what prompted the March 8th meeting to actually occur. And I basically threatened her with a petition if she didn't do it. So we did not get enough signatures. We didn't need them. She resigned. So here we are. Essentially, what we're here today, what we're trying to do is there is no signature page on the 2006. So what that does is it makes this basically useless. We cannot open a bank account. We cannot get a post office box. We cannot conduct business for the CVRIA right now. So what we're going to be doing today is having y'all sign a piece of paper basically saying that we are going to accept this as our temporary bylaws, if you will, because they do need to be updated. They are archaic. They do not allow us to conduct business in the state or the federal. There's a lot of parts and pieces that in 06 were not necessary, but now are, right? You understand what I'm saying? Laws change. So we need to update them in that way. We also feel as a group, it would be less fighting, infighting, and outfighting, whatever fighting, if it were written down what the rules are, right? Because one person says this, another person says that, then another says something else. It would be better if it was just stabilized in a document that we could just go back and refer to. That is what bylaws are for, is so that the next board that comes in can't mess with the rules and put you guys in a position where you're all sitting here doing what we're doing right now every year. It makes it too difficult. And this does have to function. It's a requirement by the law that we have this organization or we lose that right of way, period. There is a document right here. This, Mark, you can attest to this probably as well. This is the original right of way that was signed on by the state and CVRIA, the Camaro Valley Maintenance District. This is basically a contract. It is a contract, not basically. It is a contract that states the rules the state requires us to abide by in order to keep that road. If we don't do that, we lose it. And there are probably 9 violations that I've found already that we are not compliant with and have not been for a while. They just don't know it yet. Okay, so we'll go over those as well as we get through in the meeting. So that is why we called you guys here today. There's a lot of issues going on with the CVRIA that none of you are probably aware of. and it is putting us in serious jeopardy of losing our lease and our corporation. And if we lose that, we lose all the funding that we have, which is.
And the money that was spent.
That's what I'm saying, all the funding, the money that we spent, everything that we have will have to be donated and given away. That is the rules of a nonprofit. So we'll go through those things. That's what this meeting is for, is to inform you of what has been going on over the past 10 to 11 years since Linda took office, and just kind of bring you up to speed as to what's going on, okay? So before we get into all of that though, I'm gonna turn the floor over to Christina. She's gonna inform you of some of this stuff, while what I'm gonna do is go down here with our secretary. We're gonna count the ballots to legitimize the people sitting up here, okay? So we're doing that in front of you so that you can see the ballots.
Okay, so one of the things that I just wanted to touch on was
So I just
a lot of
gave
the
you a
things
piece of
that
paper here to
Robin and
count
I
them.
have been, and Marguerite and these guys up here at the table have been working on over the last
So what do you want me to do?
10
So you're
weeks,
gonna put one for me,
that may or may not,
One for
you guys may or may
Christina,
not be aware of, right?
one
So
for
I know that there's been a lot of
Marguerite,
emails going
one
back
for
and
Edie,
forth
and one for
from us
Jamie.
to try to get as much
Okay, gotcha.
information out as we possibly could.
This one
I do realize that
Me.
there's probably
Christina,
some confusion as far
Mhm.
as maybe not
Jamie.
enough information had been going out, so I will take
Me.
full responsibility for that. I need to do a better job of
Marguerite.
letting you guys know every
Edie.
step of the way.
Jamie.
But we ask that you just keep in mind that when we took this over,
Christina,
we really didn't get it on a
Marguerite.
silver platter. You
Edie.
know, we got a
Jamie.
lot of stuff thrown at us and it wasn't
me,
all together. We
Christina,
got files and
Marguerite.
receipts
Edie,
of
Jamie.
members over a 3 to 4 week period. So we would get a bunch of
Christina,
files to begin with, we
Marguerite.
would go through them, try to
Edie,
make some sense of it.
Jamie.
You could tell that the files were kind of picked and pulled apart.
Brett.
Some people's
Whoops.
receipts were in another member's file, and we're like,
Marguerite.
okay, well, why is
Edie.
this here? Is there any
Jamie.
relevance? And then I would get a call
Stephanie
saying,
would
hey, I
get
found
this
some more information. Come pick them up. So I would go and pick it up, and it would be a whole nother
Me.
batch of stuff.
Brett,
It would contain
Marguerite.
previous members'
Edie,
information,
Jamie.
current members' information, and so we were back at it again, trying to pick it all back together, you know,
Me.
pick it apart, and then
Christina.
put it back together so we actually
Marguerite.
knew what we were dealing with.
Edie,
This
Jamie.
went on for 3, maybe 4 weeks. And in the course of that, we had all of these intentions to go
Christina.
start a bank account,
Marguerite.
to
Edie.
get a P.O. box, because that's the right thing to do, not having information go into a
Me.
person's house.
Christina,
And what we
Marguerite.
found out was
Edie.
that we didn't
Jamie.
even have things like our EIN number or our articles of incorporation to be able to do any
Marguerite.
business whatsoever.
Edie,
So what we
Jamie.
were doing is, in the midst of trying to get all the members' files
Christina.
together and validate it and see, okay,
Edie.
well, who's current,
Jamie.
who's not? Do we have the paperwork that we need to actually conduct
There's only
business? And
20.
the answer was no.
me,
So then we
Christina,
would be stopped in our
Marguerite.
tracks, and then we would have to go
Edie.
to, whether it's a
Jamie.
state or federal agency, the IRS, whoever, and say, okay, well, we're
Me.
looking for this
Christina.
documentation, do you
Marguerite.
have it? And so we would then be waiting to get information from the state or federal or whoever
So
we
ladies,
were
get-
talking to at that time to get it. And all of those details, we didn't communicate to you guys. We just kind of felt like, you know, if we did, you would be getting emails all the, you know, every day, all day. And we were sending a lot, and I apologize, we were
Marguerite.
sending a lot of those
Edie.
emails late at night.
Jamie,
And that was like, because, you know, we work during the day as well,
Me.
you know, so
Brett.
we work during the day and then come home and then work on it, and we're like,
Edie.
oh crap, we gotta,
Jamie.
you know, let everybody know what's going on. So, in the midst of all of that, what we found out was,
Me.
obviously,
Christina,
the bank account, we
Marguerite.
couldn't open, right?
Edie,
But we do have a certified check that was given
Me.
to us from
Christina.
Linda that
Marguerite.
closed the existing Washington
Where's my
Federal
lines
Bank
at?
account. That is a certified
Okay,
check. We went to the bank with her the following Monday,
Where
which
you
was the 10th, to confirm that the
Christina,
money did exist
Marguerite,
and that we could
Edie,
actually get
Jamie.
it. That has since been put into a safety deposit box, waiting for us to be able to open up a bank account.
20,
So we do
20,
in fact have that.
So
The other thing that we've found out as well
we'll give you the
is
floor here
we
in just
used to
minute.
have a
You can read the vote.
501c4
and then-
exemption status federally. We lost that. Somewhere in the process of 2012, to current. The 990 forms that's required by the government was never
I should
filed.
have 16.
So we
but
lost
15 at
our
first.
exemption status.
20, but
Now,
I
that's
only have
something that
15.
we did talk to
that's
the
when we
IRS
count
about, and we found out that
Okay.
we can in fact get that back.
Oh,
But
wait,
that's,
'cause I
as a
crossed
group,
it
we
to
have to
3.
decide if that's something that we wanna do and it's
4.
necessary. We are in fact still an LLC nonprofit. We have confirmed that, our license and our business is good there. We did find out that there has been 3 years of unfiled taxes, 2017, 2019, and 2023, which we are in the process of getting that information because we actually need the dollar figures of how much money came in those years
I think I
to be
got
able to
sloppy
file
with
our
my lines.
taxes. The one good thing though, as a nonprofit, as long as you don't make over $50,000 a year,
16, right?
you won't have to pay.
15.
So I'm pretty certain
Okay.
that we won't have to pay anything. But needless to say, we're now on the IRS's radar because they know that we are now knowledgeable to the fact that we haven't paid 3 years worth of, or filed 3 years worth of taxes, right? So we've been trying to pull paperwork together for that as well to get that done. But the biggest thing for us is we have to get the business functioning correctly before we can do those filings,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So that's why this election is so important. That's the reason why the reviewing of these bylaws are equally as important. The other thing is, I don't know
I
if
think it's in here.
you guys saw Jamie here went out and graded the road. Thank you. So, thank you for that. Some of the other things that we had found out just during this whole process, the cattle guards. I don't know if you guys have seen that some of the cattle guards, or actually we have 2. One at the top of the hill and then one back by Maria. We are responsible for those, which we didn't know. I didn't know. I talked to the Karchners, which prompted us to look into who owns that cattle guard, who's responsible for that cattle guard. Well, it's
Okay.
Kamara Valley. We are
Now, do you want
responsible
me
to
to
make
sign
sure
this?
that that's cleaned
Is that why
out.
this is here?
So moving forward, we'll have to put together a team that's
Your
willing to
stamp
go out
is
there
here,
and
yeah.
just kind of clean it out, maybe every quarter or so. Steph and I took care of the one at the top of the hill last week.
Gotcha.
Um,
And then I
Yes,
still have
of course. Definitely.
Oh, no worries.
So we took care of that one. We drove back by Maria's. That one looks actually pretty good. Jamie is the one. Thank you for mentioning that because I didn't even know it existed back there. So, but we'll put that on our radar too
There's
to
your
be able to make sure
report
that
on
we're
that.
watching those cattle guards to keep them cleaned out because I didn't know. I don't know if you guys knew, but I surely didn't. So, yeah, and then, let's see, the cattle guard cleanup. Oh, and then also, all of the files, has been turned over for audit. So I know that was one of the things that, we talked about last meeting, was making sure that we turn files over for audit. We have in fact did that. There was a little bit of a delay because most CPAs were focused on taxes. So nobody would even talk to us. So they have since been turned over, and once we get information about that, we will obviously let everyone know what that looks like as well. And I think that is, give me just 2 seconds here. Oh, the other good thing that we found out too, just going through the files, 95% of our members are compliant. I know that there was information that was put out there that people aren't paying, that, there's non-compliancy. 95% of our members are compliant, they have the right of way and have been paying. There's only a handful of people that haven't been. So I think that's really good for people to know, because that's the truth, Yeah, I think that's it. Other than that, I think we're good. We got the EIN. We updated everything as well through the AZCC, which is the Arizona Commerce Commission, which was a requirement when Linda stepped away. We wanted to make sure that we do that. That way, the state of Arizona knows what was happening. So we did that as well. And then after this election, it will be updated again because we have to make sure that we're obviously compliant. So. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I assure you it was. So, yes, it was definitely a lot. So, even though it didn't sound like it, we really were, our main goal, thank you, definitely. Our main goal was to make sure that every member here is treated equally and fairly across the board. Robin and I are newbies, right? We've only been here for 2 years. And, you know, we were concerned. So we just wanted to make sure and ensure that everybody here was treated the same way and had access to the same information, because I know when I moved into the neighborhood, I got 4 or 5 different sets of bylaws. I was told 4 or 5 numbers. You didn't know what was right and what wasn't. And I knew that if I was getting that information, there was a lot of other people that was getting that information as well. So going into this, that was our main goal, is we're a community, you know, we're only as good as our neighbor, honestly. So, you know, we wanted to make sure that everybody was treated the same way, had the same information, and we were all a team moving forward, because unfortunately, I just didn't feel that was the case previously, but here we are, so.
All right, so what I'm gonna have happen next is I'm gonna have Marguerite read the results of the ballots. So what we did is we went with an electronic version this year, because obviously if we mailed out a ballot, guess where it would have went? Linda's house. So we can't get a post office box, we can't get a mailbox, we can't do anything. So we opted to do this electronically. It's a secure ballot because it comes in from you, it goes directly into a bin. I can't open it, I can't change it, I can't do anything to it. I think it's a very modern way of doing things. We had a couple of folks that may have had an issue, but they called us, we walked them through it, they were done in 5 minutes, it was over and done with, okay? So, Marguerite, you wanna read the results, please?
Okay, so out of a total of 20 ballots counted, Robin, you got 20. Christina got 16. Brett got 4. Marguerite, myself, got 20. Edie, you got 19. And Jamie got 20.
Okay, so I guess you see your new board. All right. And just to ensure that you didn't get stuck with us, we all signed a 90-day agreement that we would vacate our spots. If a board was not elected, you could do whatever you needed to do. So we can trash these into the bin of never return, because we're now here. All right. The next thing that we want to discuss is
Sorry.
Okay, I'll get to that. All right. We were supposed to adjourn the March 8th meeting, because that did not happen. Everybody kind of just got wild and left. So that's been formally adjourned now. We wanted to get your feedback on this election. Is this something you want to do in the future? The way that we did it electronically, did that help or did it hinder?
Easy.
Yeah, I like that.
You liked it? Okay.
After I
Yes,
figured it
ma'am.
out, I liked it.
I think it's a little concerning that you only had 20 people vote.
And
I think that
yes.
has something to do with the electronic process.
And you're right, it probably does.
So
A lot of
I'm
the
not for
information
it.
that we receive from Linda, we're not sure the emails are actually good. And so that is gonna be on our members, and our next job is to send letters to the members, to the addresses that we have on file. But of course, with the short period of time that we have, it's a little hard. We did emails, numerous emails, you all saw them. We did phone calls, and we did text messaging. So we did everything we could short of sending out a mailer. Why didn't we send the mailer? Well, because we didn't get all the information in time to send mail. So that's the problem.
One of the things too, as I mentioned earlier, how we were getting files, we would get 10 or 12 files one day, and then 2 weeks later we'd get another. One of the things that Linda did was that she had a file, and she would have the person's mailing address on the tab, but then she would have scribble on the front folder, and it would have phone number or an email address, and a parcel number. And then what we found was a lot of that information that we did eventually get was wrong. The phone numbers were not working. We would get bounce back of the emails. So one of the things that I was trying to do and have been still doing ongoing, which I have, I think 30 email addresses confirmed, where people's actually responded back and said, yes, this is mine, here's my email address, this is my phone number. So we can say that we have 30 confirmed, emails, but that's just half. So
it is going to be on the property owner to contact us, but you have to realize a lot of this is in the status where there's a lot of animosity because they hear Camaro Valley, they literally have hung up on us or told us, you know, some not so nice things because they think we're there, just in
Some
general,
property
members
owners.
will hang up. We've had a group of people making phone calls, just, they think we're calling to collect, when in fact we're not. So we figure a nice letter explaining what's going on and all of that, there's not much we can do. I mean, if you don't wanna respond, you don't have to respond. You're not forced to vote just because you own property. So of the 30 that we have, there were a couple of extras we were able to contact via phone or text. They added in, because honestly, last week before the ballot closed, we had only 13 votes. So we were able to get a few more with the text and the phone calls. So, but for the most part, the folks that were doing the phone calling were being told they don't care. The people don't care about the vote. They don't want nothing to do with it. There was a couple of divorces that had happened, a death that had happened with one of them, and others just told us to get lost. So I feel like there's just a lot of animosity because people feel that they've been told they owe. I have counted this roll, so to speak, or member list, and we have taken every single payment that we have been able to get a hold of from day one of 06 to today. If it exists, it's recorded. And there is only 2 members that are behind in payment. How many of you have been told you're non-compliant? Okay, so that's the issue, is she keeps you in a non-compliant status so you don't have a vote. Yes, ma'am.
I haven't paid for this year, but I knew.
And
that
no
you
one
had
has.
And no one
bank
has,
account.
so you're good, yep.
Yeah.
Because it's not technically due until July.
Correct,
So,
it'll be due
yeah.
in July at our annual meeting. This is a special meeting, so this is to clear up some issues that were left and whatnot. So no one has to actually pay their dues for 2025 until the July timeframe, okay? So, and that was on our list of things to get to. Did you have another question?
Yeah, I have a question. So is a rule, so I greatly appreciate the position you were put in and all the work you've done. Question is this an annual thing? Should there be a meeting annually?
Oh.
There should be a meeting by law. The corporation is to have an annual meeting, and since there are members, those members are included.
Yes.
You are members, we are board. Okay, so the board conducts its business. We're gonna do it a couple of times a year.
We said that we would like to do it a couple of times a year because
At least.
things have been ran not the way that they have been supposed to be running since roughly 2006. Because at least the stuff that I've been seeing, not a lot of members were involved in the decision making, right? It was decisions were made and then you were told about it. So our focus is, okay, well, it's the members that actually tell the board what to do. You guys are the ones that says, this is what I wanna see, this is what I wanna do, and then we go, okay, well then this is how we do it, right? So really, I think there should be 2 meetings a year, that way everybody, minimum, that way everybody's on the same page. And then of course, if something else comes up, you know, that's pressing that we need to talk about, oh, we have money to buy a tractor. Then of course we get together and we discuss that, right? But just normal everyday business, I really feel, and we've talked about this, is we feel like it should be done at least twice a year. You know, not every month because, you know, people have lives and things to do and all that good stuff, but I really do feel like it should be done at least twice a year. That way everybody is on the same page. And then if questions come up, you have that open floor time to be able to ask those questions and get them addressed. And we won't always have the answer, right? We're gonna have to go back and do research and figure it out too. So at least that gives the members the opportunity to do that.
Right.
Whereas before it never was.
Which is a lot of the confusion comes in when, if you understand what's happening with a nonprofit, you have a board of directors. It's a requirement by the law. The board of directors is the ones that direct everything, right? But in our case, we have membership. That means the homeowners are a part of the decision-making processes. Now, the day-to-day stuff you give us as a board, you know, the right to write a check for pay this or get gas or whatever needs to be done. I run a nonprofit where I do not have members, meaning the board directs and does all of its duties, okay? We don't ask our students or their parents for their opinion. We just do what we have to do and get it done. And it's a very simple operation. However, that is not the way this organization has been being run for the past 10, 11, 12 years. It's been run by one individual who runs around telling everybody what she wants you to know, not what's factual and actual. We have found numerous different places where the minutes of the meeting do not match what is actually going on. We have so many different scenarios, we can't even go, I mean, it would take us all day to go through it. It took us 3 weeks just to get to the bottom of what was going on. And before that, I had spent 1.5 years working with a personal attorney, working on and off with them to get myself out of hot water with her. Even though my former property owner paid the dues and did everything they were supposed to do, I was still being charged. And she came in after the fact. So the sale was complete, she was contacted prior to, and still came in under 2 months later and said, you owe. No, you can't, you don't do business like that. And that set up a lot of red flags for me, and that's why I personally went at this. But then, I asked her for that meeting, she refused. We pulled the meeting together because of a threat of getting rid of her. And then Christina and I started working together because we're neighbors. We share the same access and all. So I'm just like, we can't just leave everybody else in the dust and walk away because our problems are fixed. So that's why that meeting on March 8th occurred the way that it did. We went with an agenda. Our agenda was get this person out of office because it's being mismanaged so badly. We're at the point where the state is going to step in, or the federal government, and is going to shut us down. And then what are we going to do? We're going to have to helicopter in to get to our property because we'll all be trespassers again. And once they take away your legal right-of-way, they will not give you your money back, they will not reissue, and you will not have access to that road. You'll be trespassing. So that is part of this contract that they signed back in '06. And I've read this now 9 times, and as I said, every time I read it, I find something else that we're breaking the rules. So they're easy to fix, but we have to do them. Yes?
I'm sorry, so how much time is there to fix that before they take our right of way?
Well, they aren't aware that we're breaking the rules.
Right,
So
thank God.
if we fix them, they won't be aware.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure, did you mention the tax return issue?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so as you can see, when I called the IRS to find out if the 24s were filed, Linda said she had filed them. We wanted to back up and make sure that she did. She did file 24, but there are 3 years of taxes that are outstanding. And there makes no rhyme or reason as to why they're outstanding and why they were not filed. Even though we don't believe there should be money due because we don't make enough money to pay taxes, it's still the point they were never filed. And as you mentioned, we lost the 501c4, which we can get reinstated if we go ahead and file all the paperwork. But again, that's gonna take some time, and that required a seated board to do. We mentioned about you guys are our priority and making sure you have your access, that you're informed, which is what we've been trying to do. Granted, most of us, some of us, all of us, except one, have jobs, right? So we're working during the day and we're sending out emails at the end of the evening. I know that I don't go to bed before 3 in the morning since I got this mess. Okay, and I get back up at 6 to go to school in the morning to teach my kids. So it is a full-time job. That's not the way it's meant to be, but untwisting 12 years of nonsense is a real joke. And I'm gonna say it this way. Having one person in control of all of the information, all of the documentation, all of the correspondences, everything that needed to be done should never, ever, ever happen again. Federally, there should be 3 directors on the board at all times. It's the federal law where you automatically lose the 501. If you only have 1, you're still legal in the state of Arizona, but again, you lose that federal status. So once we get that back in, you've got to have a diverse board of people. You cannot pile these positions on 1 or 2 people. Or you're gonna lose everything that we're working so hard to get back for.
And it goes back to the thing that you had mentioned about how long does positions like this last, right? I think the bylaws say a year. Me personally, I think the directorship should be a little longer, but I think it's also good for there be other members that also step in to do it as well. Because then it gives everybody a chance to switch positions and get their hands in and actually see what, you know what I mean, like see what's happening and be involved in that respect.
Directors do not have to be the president, vice president, secretary, et cetera. They do not have to be the officers of the board. Those could be other members, but directors should be probably a 2-year position at minimum, just to train the next one coming in and get them prepared. There's a lot of legal stuff, and let's face it, we're mostly not lawyers, right? I don't think anybody in here is a lawyer, and if you are, more power to you. But it is a lot of work, and at times, we're probably gonna have to look at retaining an attorney. We, for our own businesses, we have attorneys that we use for a relatively small amount of money, except if you have a problem, then it costs a lot of money. But we can ask basic questions. That's what I've been doing, is using my business attorney to help me find the right path to go here. So that being said, there's gonna be some new things that have to happen. They just have to. And that's why these bylaws are so important. Unfortunately, the problem with the current bylaws that we have, the number for any changes is 75%. The only way we're gonna get 75% membership is to get people to come in via phone, online, you know, through a Zoom or something like that. That is the only way these folks are gonna be able to. Some of them are in nursing homes. Some of them live out of state, or their property is turned over to a family member that doesn't live in state. They're not gonna fly here for a meeting like this. I mean, would you? I wouldn't. So we're gonna have to step into the modern century. If Pima County can govern Pima County this way, I don't see why we can't do this. And if you have a concern with security, or in your case, how are we getting out to the folks? We're doing the best we can, but again, the homeowner has to respond in a positive way and let us into communicate with them, you know. But we're not able to do that this quickly. So that is our next step. By July, we're hoping to get these bylaws updated and compliant so that the federal government will give us back our 501, because until those are updated, we won't be getting that back. And that's the bare bones of why these need to be changed. The 501 and the federal government will not allow us to keep these in function as a nonprofit 501. We can be a nonprofit, but we don't get all the other amenities.
Or
that
even
come.
the simple ARSs that needs to be in there aren't.
Yes.
But that's because those were written in 2006 versus today.
Correct, and they were perfectly fine for the time. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, what are the benefits of filing as a 501
So-
versus not?
The larger part of it is we get the tax break, right? We don't pay tax on gas and parts and whatever else. So
Equipment.
we save money on that. If we were to buy a tractor, a lot of tax saved right there. That's probably
That's
the
the
biggest thing
that's the
for
biggest.
us is the tax break.
It's not like Kamara Valley owns land, because you would be able to get a tax break if Kamara Valley owned a land. You would be exempt from paying, state and federal taxes for your land. But that wouldn't apply necessarily in this case, because we don't own a building or, property per se.
Right.
But, when it comes to like exemption for like if we were to buy a new tractor, or if we were to buy blades, we needed blades again, or any large purchase, a couple bucks for, gas is, it's pennies. But if you spend a couple $1,000s and you can save a couple hundred on taxes, of course, that's a good benefit. So that would really be the biggest thing for us in this case.
Okay.
Because of the nature of our business, right? If for some reason Kamara Valley Road Association grows to the point where they need a little hut or something to operate its business out of, that would be a savings. Obviously you'd get the tax break for that, but really that is the whole thing there. So we are able to function as just a nonprofit because we don't have a lot of expenditures right now, especially right now. But again, this document, and we are gonna be sending around a notepad for y'all to sign. Hopefully you'll agree that we're gonna continue with these temporarily till July, so we can go open that bank account.
Yeah, and the plan is to, just so everybody is very clear, The 2006 bylaws are what we're saying that we want you to acknowledge and agree that these are the ones that we're following, right? So we can just start conducting business. But moving forward, what we would like to do is we would like to make edits to this to include like the right ARSs and the clauses that the state and federal law requires us to have. We would put it in red and we would send it out to everybody to read and make edits to, right? And then if you have some input and you don't like the way this is written or you wanna add something different, then obviously none of that will happen until everybody is on the same page, right? So this isn't one of those deals where we're gonna make changes and we're gonna go, hey, you guys just gotta take this and run with it, this is it. That's not the way it's gonna go, right? We wanna make sure that we say, okay, based off of the research that we've done, this is what's required by state and federal law. But if you want to have something in there that's more permanent, then obviously write it in and then we can find a place for it in those bylaws. Because I think one of the things that Robin had mentioned before is we wanna make sure that the annual dues is written in there, right? We wanna make sure what that number is and make sure that it is written in there so it cannot be changed, right? So if we're gone, you know, whoever else steps into that spot, they can't come to you and go, oh yeah, it was changed to $400. You gotta pay that now. We don't want that. We wanna make sure that every homeowner knows exactly what it is that they're paying regardless of who's sitting up here at this table. And that's something that all the members would agree on, right? Our main goal is to make sure that when we update those bylaws, that we include the stuff that makes us legal from a state and federal perspective. That's it.
And, you know, again, from personal experience, her fee was a different fee than my fee. Linda, it just depends on what she wanted to collect from who, and I guess I looked like I had sucker across my forehead or something, I don't know. But I was supposed to pay $1,800 plus $300 a year. She was not. And you know, we talk, so it's like, okay, why am I getting hammered over here? And, you know, I don't understand the point. And I actually thought it was because maybe our former owner didn't do what he was supposed to do, but we had that confirmed very easily. And I know you guys ran around and getting all that stuff for us as well, so I appreciate that. But, you know, we're not the only two this has happened to. We've sat and looked through all of the files are right there that we have received. However, we don't find a single solitary soul that is in the negative. Not one at all.
Not at all.
And we believe the two that we have a problem with are deceased, but we're not sure. Or they're living in a home or something. We know that they're very old. So with that being said, by the way, the number of files that we have that are actual, so you may own multiple parcels, right? But you only get one vote, so you only need one parcel. So there are 53 parcels that have a vote. Does that make sense?
There could be 100 properties.
Yes.
But 53 owners.
Correct.
Makes sense.
So 53 owners is what we have counted, if we in fact got all of the files. And again, we don't know, because only Linda knows, or you guys know if we're missing somebody. So, you know, we're trying diligently to make sure that we have what is supposed to be. The next thing that I want to do is, Edie is going to be our treasurer. And do you have anything that you would like to address before you get that job started?
Just that, you know, we want to get the account open as soon as possible. We're also thinking about possibly making it where you guys can make your payments electronically directly to the bank that we're going to have the accounts at, like you do your regular bills if you do that through the EFT. That way, when you make your payment, it is deposited. It's not going to sit in somebody's hand, in my hands, for a day or two before it gets deposited. So that's one thing, if you guys are all in agreement to, that we would like to do. But right now, that's all I have.
Okay, so it looks like the majority of the folks here are up for that when we get that.
Looked like a lot of nods.
And to be honest with you, I mean, yes, I'm the one doing a lot of this with the electronic part of it. I'm the creator of the website. I will be doing the electronic. I've been working on setting this up and everything, even if I wasn't elected. I would be willing to manage that as well, long after I'm off the board, whatever. So it's not something, I don't plan on leaving, do you?
Is that your mic? You know, say mic.
So we would be willing to manage that, ex parte from the board position. So it should be able to carry on, and I can teach others if you're interested in doing that. So, Jamie, you're going to be the equipment manager. Do you have anything you would like to share?
Other than if y'all feel froggy and want to hop on the grader anytime you want, I'm more than willing to help y'all out just as much as y'all will me. The road gets nasty, it's rocky, it's crappy. As much as we can grade it, let's grade it out. What's y'all's feedback on how often y'all want to grade it out?
Monsoon season is
For
always-
sure. That's the first one. That's one. But that's one of the reasons why. Not really just asking for help, and it ain't even all of it just like I did in one day. It took me 8 or 9 hours to bust everything from Clara's Way to Mark's. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't the best, but knocked the top off of it and working with what I got. You know what I mean? But it's one of those. If then there's other people here, I'm sure that can operate a grader just as much as I can. It's an
I cannot do that.
it is. There's a few men that's run that piece of equipment in this room just as much as I have. It's a jalopy. It's got its loves and its hates. But
Rick and I tried to run a little track.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
but no,
But
that's
what I do want to, while you're talking about the road, and I appreciate you taking on that job, because, I couldn't. But there are some people that just fly down that road.
I agree.
I think by driving that fast, it tears the road up faster.
No, I fully agree. I've been horseback and been about damn near ran over through that road a couple times,
Yeah.
and it makes you want to.
Like, excuse me if I'm in your way, but,
I know.
I've had people pull out of their driveway and almost hit me.
For
And
sure.
I'm like, really? So, it's just, I don't know, I don't think we can enforce that, but I'm not saying
You can only do as much due diligence as your neighbor. That's
Yeah.
you know.
I think you mentioned it, to make people more aware.
No, it does.
Yeah.
Just remember, we all live in the same neighborhood. We're all neighbors and friends. You don't want to hit your neighbor and injure them in any way. So let's just be more
You know what
careful.
actually kind of brought my eyes to that, someone just talking about the dust that their home gets. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh, I'm like, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it does do a lot of damage to the road driving like that. But more importantly, it can do damage to people. So let's all be careful of that. There will have to be some sort of brush along the side of the road. That is another responsibility that the state has put on us, is maintaining the walls of the road, I guess. I don't know what to call them. I don't even know how I ended up in this position, because I know nothing about the road except to drive on this side. But I'm learning a lot. But we have to maintain the brush. So if you folks have tree overhang or whatever, tears up the cars. So people tend to drive in the middle of the road because they don't want to do a paint job. I know our car, one of them is a trash zone from the one side of the brush. So we will have to do some kind of.
I know Steph and I have agreed to take that on. We have a landscaping trailer that we will set. If somebody wants to come out and help, great. But awesome. We'll get some chainsaws and loppers out there and just go all the way around the whole right of way and clean up.
Yeah, so we can kind of set a date, time frame, when it's cooler. It's getting hot, but when it gets a little bit cooler, we can do that and go. Maybe everybody just go out there, whack down your stuff right across the road and pile it up, and we'll just come by, pick it up. We'll do our part in fixing the more common areas, I guess we would call them. And stuff. So that would just be helpful. If we just all pitch in and help out a little bit, I think we can manage this and make it work out for the better. Marguerite, do you have anything as secretary? Okay.
Just what I sent out was the bylaws for you guys to review before today.
Which is a copy that is floating around the room. There are some edits on there because I had to reconstruct them from photographs. So So there's just a few edits on there, but that is basically what we're looking to do. And that'll get us the ability to go down to a bank and the post office and so on.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Marguerite, for you moving forward, one of the things that we had talked about, and I don't know how you feel about this, is, or how everybody else feels about it too, right? Instead of sending emails, what do you think about doing a newsletter like once a month?
Yeah, I could do that.
And updating everybody like once a month on the happenings, versus emails.
Now, do you want that mailed out to everyone, or do you want it online?
Honestly, I it's,
Think both.
Because we
I
can
was gonna, we
post,
could do both.
we could
Okay.
post the newsletter to the main webpage as well. There's a hole there for it, we just haven't filled it yet because we wanted to get your opinion. There is one thing about the website I was not sure of, because I've never used this platform, it's called Webador. I was trying to go for a good web design space, but inexpensive, right? Because we don't want to spend all of our money doing stupid stuff. So, but I want to be able to communicate and have the ability to do that. What I wasn't aware of is while you're editing, it's live, and you can't make it unlive. So that's why we've had some of these weird emails flying around the neighborhood. People are complaining, oh, I saw this, and then I saw that. That's why, because things change. Like, we tried to get this place for a certain date, it was booked. So I just kind of put a hole in there, not realizing that anybody could see that, because it wasn't live yet as far as I knew. And then, boom, lo and behold, and we ended up having to change it. Appreciate it. And so just bear with me on that. I'm trying to be a little bit more cognizant of it now that I know that. I'll build before I put on and then put up what's only good. I thought you could just close the page and it wouldn't be seen, but that's not true. So I apologize for that. I'm not a professional web designer, but I'm trying. Then one other thing that we want to address, in July, when you all come, because we found that nobody is non-compliant, we have that paper that you probably received that says you have a right-of-way. Y'all recall signing that back in 06 or so? We're gonna have to change that.
Do you have a sample of the old one by chance?
I do. It looks like this, with the state seal on it. Okay, it's fraudulent, it's illegal, because we are not the state, we cannot use their seal. So, we're gonna print you new ones with your property on the front, because the property parcel is where the right-of-way belongs, right? Belongs to the parcel, it's in perpetuity, it moves with the property. And so that's what we're gonna be handing out to you. Here's an example, and I'll give that to you guys to pass around. So that you'll have it, it'll have your name on it, but if you sell your property, split it or merge it back together, we'll have to update it so that it goes with the parcels, okay? And that is to alleviate us from going to federal prison. Because this little seal right here is illegal for us to use. We are not representatives of the state of Arizona. And what she was actually using was the page off of your contract with the state. She took it off of here, put a piece of paper up here that said whatever blurb she had written, and then had you sign it. So we're gonna get rid of those for you, because they're not good. And also to protect our members, we have all agreed and signed a confidentiality agreement that board business is board business, it doesn't leave the table. Okay, so if we're discussing your personal accounts or information, your property, you, whatever, it's sealed deal. We are not allowed to talk about you outside of a meeting, okay? If that happens, call me, because it needs to stop. This nonsense of emails floating around by people who are pretending that they're official people or spouting information that they've heard through the grapevine or whatever. It's not us doing it, it's none of us doing it. So, just so that you know. And board business will be conducted as board business. If you have a concern, you should be able to come to one of us or all of us and state your business and not have the whole world know what it is, right? I mean, that's just, I would like to be treated that way. So care and concern and confidentiality is our motto. that's where we're gonna stay with this. I know that wasn't what it was before, but that's what we're gonna do. Any questions so far?
So with the right-of-way, the certificates, I'm assuming that these are gonna be, I'm just assuming this, will be mailed out or emailed out to members that are out of state or whatnot. I just wanna make sure that was clear.
Yeah, we're gonna officially mail them in July if you haven't picked it up at the meeting, because we would like you to sign them.
Okay.
You know, if
So
it's
maybe
not
try to
signed
talk
by
to your
you,
neighbors,
it's
let your
not the
neighbors
end
know.
of the world, because the board is saying you do own that parcel and you did pay your dues, okay? The dues is gonna remain the same, because again, we don't have the power to change it without 75%. So we're gonna leave it at 200, that's what it's always been. Mark, is that true?
It was $100 originally, and then at some point it was raised to 200.
Okay, but Joel, you've been here, you were on the board as well, you were on the board. Any member have a problem with it recently being $200 that maybe we're wrong? No? You all know that it was 200? Yes? Okay. So it's gonna remain at 200 because, like I said, that copy is floating around, it's fraudulent and wrong. She doctored a lot of things up. I have an entire book over here of emails that went internally and all of that business, that's all what that is. So, if you have any questions on that, I'm sure I can find the information to back that up. So we're gonna continue at 200. I'm gonna say in July when you come to the annual meeting, that probably is the best place to do that if you haven't been able to do it online. And according to these bylaws, it says 30 days from that meeting, so you have up until the end of that, yeah. So, does anybody have anything else they wanna add, any questions? Yes?
You know, given, while you're not running Apple or anything here, still there's some complexities that the average layperson doesn't deal with usually. I would recommend that the board stays on for 2 years, because it just makes sense to be 1 year and you can't even get your teeth in anything and get comfortable with it. I mean,
Right.
maybe more. I'm just saying that one is, that's too much turnover, I would think.
It's too much turnover for 53 people.
Right.
It really
exactly,
is,
yeah.
because you need 5, minimum 4, but 5. And, you know, you just sit here and you're like, it is really hard. I don't have a problem with it being raised, but again, we can't officially change the bylaws without 75%, because that's what they are. And the only thing I can say is, there is no clause in the bylaw that says you can't run a second term. There's nothing that says you can't run again. There's nothing to that effect. So if you wanna run a second term, run it.
Yeah.
If you win it, you win it. I do think that this animosity of throw it out, I'm done, I quit, walk away, don't help anybody, get on board, none of that. That shouldn't happen. We're neighbors. I don't care how mad you are or how upset you are, you need to do your job. You signed up for it, it goes into completion. That means transition, all of it.
I mean, at the end of the day, we all still live here,
Yeah.
whether we want to participate or not, right? We all have to drive on the road, we all live here, right? So, you know, I'll be the first one to say it along with Robin, whether I'm sitting here or not, or sitting there, I will do anything I can to help anybody, whether it's, you know, grade the road, clean the cattle guards, trim trees, do paperwork, you know, send emails, it doesn't matter. I will do whatever I can to help, regardless of, you know, where I'm at, because we bought property and we live here, we have, you know, no intention of leaving, so, you know.
So, I will post, I think I have posted a phone number, a 520 number, for the business. If it's not up there, it will be posted.
On the website?
Yes. What I'm doing is I'm using right now my business number to be the CVRIA number as well, until we can get some funding to go and get a cell phone for the business. And then that will ride with the business as long as the board continues to pay the bill, right? So, because these are things that need to happen. I shouldn't be getting phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning, getting yelled at about some stupid thing. I mean, on my personal phone. I mean, that's just ridiculous. We're getting hate mail, we're getting, I mean, all I did was step up and say, hey, we need a meeting. that should not result in the things that are being done, threats. You've all seen the emails, putting tags out on my vehicles so that I can be run off the road, and it has already begun. So this should not be a dangerous thing, right? I mean, I know you guys aren't the problem, but you need to be aware of what is going on behind the scenes. So talk to your neighbors, calm them down. There is no hostility here. You know, if you didn't win, you didn't win. That's how we look at it. If I didn't win, I'd go back over there and sit down. That's what I would have done, even though I did all of what I've done. That's just the way it is. People are, you know, gotta do what they gotta do. So, go ahead.
I'm sorry, a couple of things that I wanted to make sure was mentioned too, so everybody is familiar. No, that's okay. Robin talked about the bylaws that we have with the state of Arizona, so the state of Arizona and Camaro Valley as a whole. Some of the things that we should be doing that we're not doing, that we haven't touched on yet, is we should be carrying a $1 million insurance policy, which we have not done. That's one. We should have a compliance officer on staff, which we have not done. Or a retainer, you know, which we have not done. The other thing, the problem with the insurance, right? So Robin, you explained this really good the other night. If we are not carrying insurance as Camaro Valley, if someone got hurt on that road, got into a car accident, God forbid lost their life or got seriously injured, when they sue, they're suing Camaro Valley. We are Camaro Valley. So if they sue, they're coming after us personally if we don't have that insurance.
That means our property.
That means our property, our stuff, right? So that is huge. That's really, really important. That's one of the biggest takeaways from that right-of-way agreement between, you know, Camaro Valley and the state, right? So I'm working on getting a quote for the insurance. Haven't got that yet. It's in underwriting right now. We're waiting for the feedback from them. The compliance officer, we're believing that we can retain through an attorney, that if we need them, we can.
And it has to be a compliance officer that is familiar with federal, state, and local EPA laws.
Right.
To make sure that we don't do anything that breaks those laws. And if we do, they are to report us for doing that. So chemical spills, hazardous waste, et cetera, weed remediation, that's hard to say. There's just, I mean, there's a ton of it I had.
And cattle guards were actually part of that.
Cattle guards, so like I've got 2 pages of violations where we are not compliant with that agreement. Failure to keep those covenants, the first thing it says, will result in cancellation of your ROW. We don't want that to happen, and we are failing to keep the covenant. So we have to pay penalties if we lose it. We're not allowed to put up any construction without permits, obviously. We cannot sublet. This is the one that really got me. No exclusive use, meaning no one has the right to tell you if you don't have that piece of paper that's floating around that you can't drive on that road. It's illegal, it's a federal offense and punishable by jail. If you tell someone you didn't pay your dues, you can't drive on the road, I'm gonna lock a gate. And she did that to me 6 times. Okay, so it is in the contract, no exclusive use. So anybody can drive on that road, whether you pay for it or you don't. Our deal is, if you don't pay us, the corporation, not us, but the corporation, we can't get the insurance to protect you and your home from being sued if something bad happens, right? So that's what the nuts and boil down to, is we can't get the tractor, we can't run it, we can't pay for it, we can't do any of the business, we can't do anything. So if you guys don't do your part, we can't do our part. Any board can't do their part. So that's part of that. Maintenance and repair of the road is our responsibility. Failure to do that results in losing it. Clearing and trimming the brush. No fencing can be erected on the road, obviously. Misuse will result in termination. So if you're not using the road for its proper intention. Having no indemnity clause and a hold harmless for the state of Arizona. Guess who will sue you if you don't have that? The state of Arizona. I don't want to pay them, do you? So we need to have this insurance, and it's not going to be cheap. We need to comply with all environmental laws. That's where officer comes into play. Dust control, cattle guard maintenance, those are all part of our requirements. If we do not do our part and the state is sued, we have to reimburse them for any damages that result. And that means out of our own pocket if we don't have that insurance. Of course, if you're breaking the law, insurance never covers you, right? If you find artifacts of a historic or native nature, we're to report it immediately to the state. Don't touch it, don't bury it, don't do anything, just walk away and call them, because it is a federal offense. Noxious weed remediation, that is our responsibility. I don't know what would grow, Jamie, on the road, do you know what we would have to do?
Oleander.
Okay.
Killing everything.
You know, all of these things, like I said, there are 2 pages of violations that we have not complied with, and at any time, if they came out and looked, we'd be toast. So, this document, by the way, was torn apart and thrown in 9 different envelopes. It took me 9 different envelopes to find this and put it back together. Fortunately, we had a copy online that we could go back and make sure we got it all. But she tore it apart to use this state seal right here to come after all of you to say, the state says you have to pay, because she did it to me. And I know she did it to you, and I know she did it to some of these folks. So that being said, we can't do that to you, and we won't do that to you. All we're asking you to do is what's right and pay your part, because that's what we all agreed to.
Talk about the book, your book.
This black man, oh, you like that book.
I do.
Christina has come to me several times. This is what I call a minute book. Anything we need for this business can be found in less than a minute, because it's all right here. It's tabbed, it tells you where your filings should go. As I find them, I'm putting them in here. A copy will be made and given to the secretary. It will always remain with a secretary, whoever that is. I suggest that if anybody else is ever on the board, one stays with the president, one goes with the secretary. And I would suggest probably putting one in a safe deposit box in case your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, your tax returns, EIN, any of that important information you can't get back is secure. So
Also,
that's
too,
what that is.
Also too, just so everybody knows, we have not been able to track down any copies of previously filed taxes. We know that we haven't filed 3 of them, but we have no records of any of our taxes being filed. So that's another hurdle that we've been working on trying to get. We can go in and request them, but obviously that takes time.
Right.
So all of those, once we collect them, will go in that book as well.
And now that we've been formally elected, we now have the juice to go behind there and say to the IRS, here's our form, please give us from 2006 all the way to 2025, we need a copy of the tax statements.
Mhm.
And that they can,
You did the paperwork?
they were filed except for 3 years, but she did not turn over them. She says that she doesn't have them. I can't imagine why she doesn't, but what we will do then is they will go in here in the minute book under the tax filings, and I have one that I can show you. This is called a transcript, and this is what we will be getting from the IRS, and it tells us what the amount was that we brought in, what was filed, if salaries were paid. Obviously we don't do any of that, and so on. So that is what needs to be in the book, because that is the only way anybody knows the history of the finances of a business, right, is by those. We don't have that, we have one, and that is dated 2013. And Linda, how she filed the taxes, whatever the sum total of the bank balance at the moment was your annual income. Even though you may have only brought in $10,000 that year, you got socked with the entire balance. So,
And I mean, the good thing is, we didn't make over 50 grand, so we wouldn't pay anyway, but it's just still, if we're doing this and we wanna do it right, we obviously wanna make sure that we're recording what we brought in, not what the balance is, if that makes sense. So.
and based on whatever this audit tells us, we will bring that information to you. If it comes before July, we will get that disseminated to you as well, but if it comes later, then fine too. But, you know, we have to wait for the results of that, and nobody really knows what is going on with the accounts. She's had a couple of different banks. We did obtain from different, 6 different drops? And I mean, when we're saying drops,
Yes.
here's a pack of papers. Oh, here's a file of somebody's. Literally, I found bank statements in people's files. As I had to go through and put all of your check statements back together. She tore them off, threw them all over, but she had a fit, is what she did. And said, here you go, figure it out. And I did. I put it all back together. I matched the staples back up and everything. So it's all put back together. I have physically gone in and put all of your data in, previous owner to new owner to new owner, if there were more than one sale. Electronically. So it will go from person to person now. We purchased a computer, a laptop, it's right, not a laptop, yeah, laptop, right there, so that can go to the members. We'll get a second one, because I think one for the treasurer, one for the secretary, so that business can just be left on there and go. And that's what we've been doing. We're building the files electronically so that this can carry forward for many years, because nobody's gonna, be without this road till at least 2063 or 4.
So 3 years.
Unless something big happens out there. So, but that is what we're looking to the future. We're looking how to maintain this long term and be able to hand it from person to person or whatever needs to be done. So on that front, are there any questions about that?
You all are, I'm assuming some of you are spending your own monies right now.
Yes.
And
But it had to be done because
No.
we have to keep moving. Yes. We'll turn in receipts,
Yeah.
but yeah. So,
everyone has bills, so, right? I mean,
yes.
so-
But we are using, fortunately, I'm about to go on summer break, so the school is not using a lot of these opportunities like the web and all of that stuff. They're not using that, so I can use it for that for now, right? Separate account, but I can do that and not pay an extra fee. So we're getting a lot of this for free right now, but once school starts back up, I'll have to put you guys on your own account. And it's like $9 a month. It's not expensive for a website, it just having somebody to maintain it. And I'm sure that there's folks that can do that. It's not hard. If you can make a Word document, you can do this. But I will be happy to help anybody that wants to do it, or do it myself until I'm not here anymore. But, I really don't think that did it hit everything. I think
I
it
think
did.
so. Yep, that was just, when I went back and looked, that was the only 2 things.
We'll go with you first and then Stephanie.
Yeah, I just have a final comment. So I greatly appreciate what you've uncovered and the new way the board is gonna run and all of that. But then at the same time, I feel bad for Linda and Jeff, right? I'm grateful that Linda and Jeff did what they did over the time that they did it. Obviously, she did not have your skills.
No.
But we had, 95% compliant? That's thanks to Linda. Linda was always very nice to me. Never had any conflict with her. Couldn't thank Jeff enough.
No, I agree.
For the road work he did, and I think somebody needs to stand up here and say that.
No, and
Right?
this has nothing to do with
I agree with you. 100%.
not appreciation or anything of that nature.
It sounds like it.
But it's not meant to be that way. What we're doing is
So
we're
I'm just
telling
making a
you.
final comment.
Right.
Final comment is, I appreciate everything you've said, everything you're doing, and your expertise. And at the same time, just in the name of community, I also want to say thank you to Linda and Jeff for what they did do for us. I think they did the best they could do with what they had. That's all I wanted to say.
And again, like I said, this is not about being not appreciative of the former people doing this. It is the lack of diversity, just not getting enough help, not taking help when it's offered. Those are the reasons we're in the state we're in. If you don't know something, then you need to find somebody that can do it, right? And so we're here to tell you where the problems are, because it's your right to know these problems. It's not a bash
We appreciate
or
it.
anything like that.
We appreciate
We have to work together to fix these things.
We appreciate
Or we're all gonna be in a world of hurt,
Right.
without a road.
We appreciate it.
Yes, and I understand your point.
But at the
Yes,
same time,
yes, you're right. You're right.
we can still say thank
Thank
you
you.
for what you did
Yes.
do.
100%.
Yes.
100% agree with you.
And I think that
Can I
should be
get
in
your
the
name
minutes.
so I get my minutes correct?
My name is Karen Garfin.
100%.
Karen,
Garfin,
G-A-R.
Garvin.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
100% agree.
yeah, we just gotta say thank you for what
Yes.
you did do.
And we have been very
You have
respectful,
a million
very
more tools.
helpful with Linda, but there is a lot of things that she should have but doesn't have. Why?
That was-
Where are they? You
That
know?
was actually the main reason why I even got involved to begin with, was I reached out to Linda initially and said, hey, I don't know much about what's going on, but can you help me understand, right? Because that was honest to God, that was my feeling. My wife will tell you this. I went back to her and I go, I just think she just doesn't know. I just don't think she knows, you know?
Exactly.
So I'm completely with you, 100% agree.
So-
Stephanie, you had a comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, I have more of a comment. So I know that there were, and I'm not sure if everybody were given this or they weren't given. I heard different stories. So we're going back to the 2026, or the 2006 bylaws.
Correct.
Because those are the original ones. And I know that there was 2023 and 2025 that were floating around. And that was kind of what brought people to concern for the March 8th meeting because of the stuff that was put in there.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, moving forward, I think is pretty important, and we need to get our neighbors. Everybody needs to talk to your neighbors. If your neighbor's not here, look around, tell them that they need to get to these meetings because the bylaws are basically what's gonna make moving forward work even better. Now we have a board. We have a board that we can actually go and get the business going, open a bank account, PO box, get in line with state, get all the insurance, stuff like that. The road can actually start being graded again. Thank you for doing that again, you know. But
Yes.
without the bylaws, we can't actually do the things that we need to do and be able to do the things that we can't. Like, so my mother lives in X, and they have a road association. There's actually an HOA.
Theirs is a true HOA.
Theirs is a true HOA. That's something that, for me, I do not wanna see this happen with this association. On top of that, they have the fees and stuff like that. They have a grader, they hire out a grader, so I don't know the legitimacy of how they do that, but
They
we
spend
have our own.
They spend about 10 grand a year paying for a grader.
Yeah. So in a sense, we say that as this organization, but we can't do anything moving forward if we don't have people show up. So the neighbors that are sitting here, they know that their neighbor didn't show up for one reason or another. If you can talk to them and tell them, hey, please, because we all want this done right. And if, hopefully moving forward, we could do it, via the web or, you know, people on the phone moving forward voting. And I'm not sure if that's something that has to be written in order to do that.
Right.
So I think this is very important moving forward, and like I said, just talk to your neighbor, you know, tell them that if they're not happy, come, you know, voice that. But regardless,
Your
we don't have to
concerns
give
are
them a
always
degree.
welcome. Keep in mind, we can't do 100% of everything because the majority is the leadership, right? We can't, if you have this thing but everybody else wants that thing, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's not that we don't hear you, it's not that we don't want to accommodate you, we'll do our best, but sometimes it just doesn't work, right? For any situation, majority always rules when you have a group. So, Stephanie, were you done? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
My last thought was, just as a community, I wish I knew more of my neighbors.
Same.
We are out there by ourselves.
Yeah.
If something happens, you know, who you gonna
Karen,
call?
where are you at? Where are you located?
I'm at the end of Bell Road,
Okay.
close to Mavory's.
Oh, so
I'm
you
like
are
where
way in the
I'm-
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between the two rocky hills is how I describe it.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway, so to me, what if there was a potluck?
Yes.
In
And we
addition to
want
the
to
Yes.
create things,
Mhm.
yes.
What if there was a conversation about a neighborhood watch group
Yes,
where we got to know each other better? It's not just the business.
100%.
Right, and
You know, there's
we are
another-
on that page.
There's
We are
another
on that page.
reason.
I always joke about this, and I say this, you know, Robin's got a huge garage, and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna host karaoke and a cookout, you know?
We have an 1,800 square
So I'm not
foot
kidding.
vacant barn that we have done nothing with, but I'm kind of holding off on it because I do want to have everyone
I
come
would,
over.
yeah, I would love that, because like I said, Steph and I are very new, we're only 2 years in, Robin's the same thing, she's 2 years in. You know, we only know the people literally in our little circle, right, that's it. But, I mean, Steph and I took a drive back to Maria's place to look at the cattle guard. I was like, what, I even said, I'm like, where are we at? Because I didn't know where we were.
I didn't even know it existed.
No, I honestly didn't, and I was like, where are we? And she's like, oh, we're just in the back. I'm like, I would be completely lost, because I honestly didn't know.
The point is, we could ask for volunteers
Yes.
to help contribute to other things for
Yes.
this semi-annual
And we want that.
meeting, for the annual
Yes.
meeting. And I think that would get more people to come.
And we would like to have committees.
I was just, yeah.
And put folks in charge of a committee to do something or this or that, whatever it is. I've talked to many of the members, especially the ones that are not here today, that, you know, this is what we would like to do. Whether I'm on the board or not, this was, you know, something I want to do. I've been wanting to do this, I've said this to her for a while, but I'm not the kind of person that will approach your property if you have a stay off my property sign. I'm not gonna go and, you know, sit out there and beat my horn and wave at you till you come to the door. I'm not gonna do that. But you know, now that we have a place that we can interact with you, we can say that that's what we truly wanna do.
Yeah.
We want to know you, we want to get to know our neighbors. I didn't move out there to be isolated, I moved out there to be out of the city. But I don't wanna be by myself. And
two, and I think a lot of the things that, at least from my perspective, right, is I think we have some really cool members that live around us, right? So if there's a need, I know without a doubt, we have a lot of people that would be willing and know how to get things done if something is needed to be done, right? So you might not know, but there's probably 6 other people that do.
Right.
So I think that would be really good about getting to know people and, you know, work
So
together.
I think that'd be good if it was reflected in the minutes, if anything
Mhm.
goes out,
Yeah.
and in future meetings,
Yes.
we want more people to come, and
100%.
we're looking for volunteers, for potluck,
That would be,
you know, a
awesome.
neighbor who's interested in neighborhood watch.
Mhm.
It'd be awesome.
Yep.
Completely awesome.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything they wanna say, share, add, suggest?
I want to make just a quick comment. Joel, thank you. Everybody in this room doesn't know this, but Joel has been a huge help
Transition as
with the
well.
transition and getting us missing documents that we needed, and just his
That's it. Our
dedication
goals.
in doing that, seriously. Huge help. We appreciate you. Thank you, because we wouldn't have been able to do it without your help. So, much appreciated.
Well then, if there's nothing else to add, does Pat want to say anything before I adjourn? Okay, thank you. All right, well then we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Do you have, can you see the time?
4:50, 4:19.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for all
Thank you,
your
guys.
work.
Thank
And
you.
we did
I know,
get
that's where I'm
an
talking.
option here, so.
Haven't done it in a while, but sounds good right now.
There's snacks. Please get some.
Mm.